I think that's, one of the upsides of the international break is for players to go away. If they do score or play well, it's really good for confidence. And, you look at someone like Trent, who used to be going away with England and it would be really difficult and disappointing for him. And now he's actually playing and getting the confidence and the belief that's being shown in him. So that's, one of the upsides. The downside is that kind of risk of injury, and that's something you always worry about. So the idea that Liverpool have had quite a few players sent back early is, brilliant from a selfish perspective, to be honest. I mean, particularly when the very important players like Salah and Van Dijk as well, who, sort of the other side of 30 as well, where that risk of injury becomes a little bigger. So yeah, and I think with the Van Dijk and the Salah one, for me, kind of underlines the good relations Liverpool try to keep with the respective FAs. That was a feature when Michael Edwards was at the club previously. Worked really hard to establish those relationships, and I think we're seeing evidence of that coming back in now, because Egypt, were well within the rights to keep hold of Mo Salah, but they took a look at the pitch and said, there's a chance of injury there. The fact is that Egypt and Liverpool both want the best version of him, so to avoid that risk was a joint decision that was taken and benefits them both. But obviously Liverpool with one eye on the fixtures coming up at the weekend, it's a boost. And I think similarly really with Van Dijk, in the sense that immediately after he got the red card, he spoke, didn't he, about sticking around for the Germany game. But obviously a phone call's gone in there and kind of they've spoken about it, and he's come back early. And again, really, really beneficial for Liverpool for him to have that little bit of extra rest. He can come back into training now ahead of Chelsea in hopefully peak condition and be fully ready for that one. So yeah, really, really good news for Liverpool. And so far, even there's still a couple of internationals left, so we got to be a bit wary about whether we say they've come through injury free. But so far, so good. And you hope those last couple in South America can come through without getting any knocks or niggles.
Yeah, for me, I think Salah was the particularly interesting one, because you mentioned the good relationship with Egypt. There were a couple of arguments or mini disputes with the Egyptian FA, maybe towards the tail end of Klopp's reign. Not necessarily down to Klopp, but there was, arguments about whether Salah should be playing every game for Egypt. I think from Salah's point of view, it's quite interesting as well. It shows he's fully committed to Liverpool. I don't think that's ever really been in doubt, but how patriotic he is, how much he loves playing for Egypt, how much that means to him. So he missed the Olympics during the summer. He could have gone to the Olympics, but he stayed to get a good pre-season under his belt. He's chosen not to play on this artificial pitch, obviously through fear of potentially him getting an injury from that. But I think it does speak volumes about Salah's commitment to Liverpool, to Arne Slot maybe for this season. If it is his last season, maybe he wants to go out on a high and doesn't want to take any risks. But certainly that commitment from player to club is definitely sort of shines through in this international break for Salah, I feel.
Yeah, it's kind of encouraging from that perspective as well, that he accepts that there are times when it is good to manage his minutes and not play every game. I think the comparison maybe is say a Cristiano Ronaldo, who don't get me wrong, unbelievable athlete, ridiculous commitment to getting on the pitch as frequently as possible and scoring goals. But you do wonder at times whether that can come at the detriment of the player, really, in terms of the long term and how often they can play at the top level for. So we have seen that slight decline in Ronaldo, haven't we, in recent years? And I think for Salah, if he's going to get this new contract at Liverpool and it's still going to be at the same wage, Liverpool need him to be performing as good as he has been over the last couple of years, really, and not playing a game where Egypt don't necessarily massively need him and there's a risk of injury is important. And I also think it's going to be, he's going to have to accept at times throughout this season as well that Liverpool are going to have to pull him in and out of the team sometimes. I think that is the best way to prolong his career and make sure he's playing at that elite level for as long as possible. So as long as he's on board with that, and I think this shows that he is partially on board with it, that does bode well, I think, in terms of his relationship with Liverpool, and says something maybe about what's going to happen with his contract.